Why do I always start off streams and stuff by literally dying and coughing and acting like I have a disease? That's like, oh, there's an ant. I'm gonna kill the ant. Oh, I missed. He's on the floor. Okay, I got him this time. Put in the garbage. It's not actually garbage there anymore, but I killed the ant. Okay, the funny national anthem's coming soon. And it's Canada, so it's funny. So, yeah, there's that. Should I, like, get cars or something? I might.
So he's out of position. Unlucky for some, 13 on the grid. Joe Guan Yu, I have briefly spoken to him on the grid. And he's out-qualified his teammate. Let's wander over. The Sheffield lad from
I'll just put these here.
China. Let's see if we can get a word. He's had a spectacular qualifying in the rain yesterday. Obviously, I don't want to interrupt his conversation with his engineer, but I'll try and thanks for talking to us. Well, congratulations, great quality. You must be pleased with that.
Yeah, definitely. It was a good day yesterday, especially considering the condition and.
It's Joe Guan Yu. I don't think I've ever heard him speak in an interview before. I don't think I've ever seen the man get interviewed before. Is there any other drivers who I've never seen getting interviewed? I don't know.
Do you have a plan in your head for the short run to the first corner, or just take it as it comes?
I take it as it comes. I mean, it's the first first time race here, so not sure what's going to happen, but of course, stay clean is the key. And
trying to think.
Long race ahead, so yeah, let's have.
Well done. Have a good race.
I don't think I've ever seen Nikita get interviewed, but I'd much rather not see that.
We talk about that they preload on a lot of fluid, and then they want to go off before.
That's what happens when you qualify last in every single race.
Okay, let's keep moving forward.
So what time is it? It's 1:38. So, oh my God, Penrod. Penrod is back. Welcome back, Penrod.
So I want to just see if we can, and he's looking at all sorts of documents. We'll go that way anyway, just to see if we can catch his attention. How you doing up there?
Oh, it's Mick.
Unless he's really up for a quick chat. He looks lean and mean. They're so unbelievably fit. They're athletes. Sometimes you see them just...
Martin's just standing there.
Like, how hard can it be? It is incredibly physical inside the cars. But it's not one of the most physical tracks of the year, but it is quite heavy on the brakes, for example. You can see the drums they have now covering the brake discs, and that's for the ventilation. We used to always smash our brakes to bits there, but they've got that sorted out so well now. So this is quite interesting that we're looking at so much data on the grid. You sort of think that might be from, that might have been done beforehand, but so they've learned something. They're showing him something that, sort of really critical driving instructions, so that hair on the grid just before the Grand Prix. We'll go and have a chat with his teammate. As I absolutely, of course,
okay, Meg.
Interrupt that critical stuff going on. Let's see if
here we go.
Of his teammate Kevin Magnussen. We'll zoom round here. There's Gunther Steiner and Kev, am I interrupting? Well, I am, aren't I? But how are you? Well done. Fifth on the That's good.
Martin's just funny, man. Just interrupts and doesn't care. He doesn't give a shit. He's just like, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. So you've got some pretty quick cars back there. Perez, for example. The Aston Martins could be quicker in. And then, of course, Shah right at the back. So your mirrors might be as busy as your visor today.
Quickly, and they're not really in our race, so it's okay. We'll take it as it comes.
And is that the mentality? No point in you losing time fighting the impossible.
No, I mean if you got a Ferrari behind you, unless it's like within the last couple of laps, you don't fight him, you know. And they're very quick, so we're gonna focus on our race, focus on trying to score points, and we're in a great position to start P5.
Well done. Thanks for talking to us.
Not much to talk about right now, is there?
And he loves motorsport. He's one of the few drivers that will ask me, and his dad, of course, I race against his dad, who will ask, you know, how was it in the old days? Was it because I think he often says that he got to Formula One 20 years too late or something. So he quite likes the concept. Right, let's have a little wander back. We'll go to
There's
the
Carlos.
front of. Oops.
Oh, are they going to try to get Fernando?
And,
They kind of have to, right? I mean, he qualified second.
He used to be the boss of F1. Chase, quick word, Chase, before I grab Christian Romay. Good to see you back on the grid.
Nice to be back on the grid. So it's great to be here on a day like this.
So you're missing Formula One?
Oh, I get back now and again, so sure. But I get here often enough that I'm not losing touch with it.
Good stuff. Really good to see you. I'm going to grab Christian before he zooms off. CH, what can you tell us that we don't already know?
Oh god, it's Christian.
You know everything anyway, so I think we just got to you know, get our head down. I know that Fernando's going to be wound up. He's going to be going for it, so we just got to try and get.
I hope Fernando has the lead down into one. That would just be. That would cause a crazy race.
Not really. Look, you just got to get on with your own thing. We can't spend our time worrying about what Fernando's going to do. Hopefully, be sensible. So we just got to get stuck in. And for Checo, you know, likewise, he's out of position, so going to be trying to make a bit of progress.
How far do you think he can get, Checo?
I think he can get to the podium today.
Okay, we'll keep
That's
an eye on
bold.
that.
That's
I'm getting
bold.
A lot of feedback in my ears. Alex, how's it going?
It's not Lewis, but
Did you
okay.
get a chance to? It's your old boss. Do you get a chance to try the
Alex.
car a bit coming to the grid?
Yeah, it feels different. Obviously, you know, when you do a whole day in the wet and it's something dry, all the marks, references, it feels like a grippy car again. But,
Alright, well, I guess the national anthem's about to happen.
Try yet because of the rain.
exactly, we got a new cards today, compared to Friday even, so we don't really know how it is. Feels okay for now, but we'll see.
All right, have a great race. So I'm getting.
There's
this
Checo
huge
too,
amount
just right
of,
there. Apparently, according to Christian, podium finisher today.
Actually, it just stopped. So yeah, actually, I'm going to have to throw back to Simon. Have a good one.
No problem at all, Martin. Well done. That is a busy old grid. There's no doubt about that. We were just hanging out like a welcoming committee there, Jensen, just trying to see if we could grab Fernando Alonso as he comes past to see if he'll have a word with us after the anthem. But for the moment, as I say, the bulk of the field have moved themselves down to the front of the grid, as you can see, lined up wonderfully through that. Yeah, he's just confirmed. Let's hope. That's Jensen doing his bit. So we're hoping we're going to have a word with the man who's alongside Max Verstappen, Fernando Alonso, in a couple of moments' time. But as the drivers get themselves ready, it's time for the Canadian national anthem.
Here we go. I forgot this national anthem. Wait, it's French? God, it's French. How did I not know this? Wait, are there two versions to this? I don't know, I should probably shut up.
Free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Some of it was English. I don't remember that. Don't they play this at NASCAR races that are on the border? Probably don't do the French version of it, if there is a full English version, but
Let's see. Depends on the first 50 meters, I guess. If we can attack Max, but if not, I think we will have to focus on Carlos.
wait, Fernando's on the soft compound tires, right?
I love this. Yes.
He might be on a two-stop, but he's gonna have the tire advantage down into one.
I will try, for sure.
I like the idea of which two drivers are going into turn one, with second place having the advantage being Fernando and Max being first. Probably going to be pretty aggressive. His first couple of corners might be a little more than just slightly eventful. Oh, it's George. Everyone shut up.
Look, you took a risk yesterday, didn't pay off, but if you had the same decision, would you do the same thing?
My inner Jensen Button was channeling within. I've never been angry with you before, but I actually was yesterday. It was one of those. I thought, we could have easily qualified fourth or even third, but it's one of those I had in Sochi last year. If you just give a tyres working, it comes alive, and there was a small opportunity to go for it. Had to. Anyway, race it today, points it today. Does it make you more hungry now? It does. We'll go for it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks very much. There we go. 2 for the price of 1. Let's hear from
And I hope George can get up there.
Starting P3 today, but you've got a
Carlos.
fantastic car underneath you. Where do you make
Took the
it
pit lane.
today, do you think?
There's not much space.
Which time do we have?
Cars on such a short run.
Oh, the intro's in like 5 minutes. Let's go.
Race ahead of us. I think there's gonna be things happening.
And this is where the nerves start to kick in a little bit.
The track is a bit green. I think anything can happen, so we will try our best.
Are there many options on strategy today?
I don't know what to expect.
Depends on how green is the track and how much graining this produces. If there's no graining, then the one stop shouldn't be too difficult. If there's graining, then suddenly the 2 stops can become a talking point.
Thanks, go well, Carlos.
So Carlos thinks this is going to be like a race where the strategy unfolds as it goes. I wish I could get some of those races in like the game, but that never happens to me.
It's not small potatoes for me.
It's Otmar.
I think he'll race Max into the first.
I haven't heard his voice, I don't think, since Jeddah.
Did you say don't crash the car first off? Or did you say go for it?
You know, the thing is, you don't have to tell him. He's very experienced. He's got that feel in his gut anyway. And even if I tell him don't crash the car, he'll do what he wants to do. Thanks, Omar. Best of luck today. Let's hear from Max Verstappen, the pole sitter.
Oh, it's Max.
Max, pole position. Great job yesterday, but you've got that wily fox Fernando alongside you today. Have you thought how you keep him at bay? Do you think he's going to make a lunge for turn 1?
I mean, everyone always tries to do the best they can right off the start. But realistically, of course, that's not our race. So we also have to keep that in mind.
How much of an advantage is it to you that there are so many cars out of position behind you, between you and your nearest rival?
Well, it looks like it, of course, but you still need to be focused and make sure that you do the job on track, which, we'll try to do today.
Conditions good for you today?
It's okay. I think we've been quick in the drive.
I'm waiting for the day we get the Max Verstappen engine penalties and everybody else is up at the front. This championship battle is not closing in.
Last weekend for the early championship leader Charles Leclerc. Ted, what's going on?
Yeah, so Charles Leclerc, the man for the championship that Max Verstappen was most worried about, he's preparing himself. There's all this distance behind. This is clearly the overtaking zone. Charles is going to have to overtake, but if you have a look at his car, you thought these multi-million-pound bits of technology were held together with, well, they're held together with sellotape. Look at that, some sticking tape, some cracking on the side of the side pod of Charles Leclerc's Ferrari.
Oh,
Speed tape, maybe
just great.
Anyway, he led the championship for so long, not leading it anymore.
This is actually going to happen.
Absolutely it is. Okay, look, we've got the mixed up grid. This is exactly what we wanted. There are overtaking opportunities today. First things first, you think those
Don't tell me Charles is going to have another issue, this time with a cracking car.
Definitely. And they'll already
That shouldn't be an issue.
Their engineering meetings would have been about the strategy
I hope,
to get in
but
front of the house, whether it's in the pits or on the track. So
anytime they mention anything about Charles at this point, when he's already behind, I start to get worried. Him or Sergio? I don't know, Max has already won it.
It's
I
not
just
going to be Max, but I think the
I mean, he's all right. I rooted for him last year because Lewis won enough, but this year there's so many better alternatives. All right, here we go. It's that ad before the intro. Here we go then. It's gonna be a good one today. I feel. No, we all thought that about Baku, and it sucked. And we all thought Monaco was going to be bad, and it was good. And we all thought Spain was probably going to be bad, and it was good. We all thought Imola was going to be good, and it was bad. And we all thought the sprint race was going to be mediocre, and it was actually really good. And we all thought, to be fair, I don't know if anybody had expectations for Australia, but it was alright. The last race, I think, where everybody thought it was going to be good and it actually was good was Jeddah.
Watch the latest premieres from the big screen on your screen. At no extra cost to Xfinity customers. Movies that'll thrill you. Move you.
Tell you what, Ocon won in the Alpine last year by just taking the lead and, you know, leading the rest of the way. If Max spins at turn 1 because of battling hard, which he probably won't, but if he does have an issue, then this is Fernando's race to lose. Or maybe Lewis will get his, like, 103rd win or whatever.
You know, the Stevensons told me they save money bundling their boat insurance with Progressive.
No one knows who those people are. It can be painful.
Here goes, there's an extra seat in here.
Progressive can't save you from becoming your parents, but we can save you money when you bundle home, auto, and more with us.
No one who made the movies here.
Oh, it's the ad. The Sky Q red button ad. I know this.
So if you joined late or missed any of the action, or simply want to go back and watch the best bits again, then you can. All you have to do is hit the red button.
I already know that George Russell's my favorite driver. It doesn't... No contest there. I'm debating whether or not I like Max at all. I don't know. I wanted him to win last year, but this year I don't. I don't know what to think. Nobody cares about the US Open right now. It's F1 time, not golf. Who even is that guy, and why is there a yellow house in the background? Is that Florida? That's not Florida. There's no palm trees.
Here we are in Montreal, and there's a big championship points battle at stake.
Euphoric applause. Hamilton wins.
Oh, it's Lewis's first win.
What happened, Michael?
Have you been to respect for humans?
Kubica hits the wall. It's a huge accident. Oh, it's a massive crash.
Nigel Mansell is stopping.
You must feel a bit sorry for Nigel.
No, I don't feel sorry for nobody.
Robert Kubica wins.
Robert Kubica won at Canada? Isn't Kubica Canadian, dare I say? No, wait, he's Polish? I don't know what Robert is. I don't think Lewis is going to win races here. I don't see it happening. Even if Mercedes does get good enough to somewhat challenge Red Bull and Ferrari, it's going to be George who wins a race. Lewis just doesn't have it anymore. And now he has scoliosis. Oh, shut up. I just realized how much the AlphaTauri drivers stare you down in that intro. Yuki and Pierre not looking very friendly there. And then there's Max. All right. And then there's Max. Just with the happy to be here face.
It's race day.
Here we go.
In Montreal.
Ooh, trains.
Canada. Oh boy, are
I like
we
that.
excited for this. Welcome along,
We're not here
ladies
for
and
trains.
gentlemen.
We're here for
It's the
F1.
51st World Championship Canadian Grand Prix and the 41st.
I'm so easily brought off topic.
So the St. Lawrence River, the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. It is round 9 in this Formula One season in 2022, and the track, well, we've missed it. We're so glad to be back. 2.71 miles long, 14 corners, only 14 corners, 6 to the left and 8 to the right, and 163 meters from pole down to the first braking zone, where Fernando Alonso on the front row will go head-to-head with Max Verstappen in just a few moments' time. You take your lap distance at full throttle for 73% of the lap, and down that long straight, overtaking chances into turn 1. Perez and Grosjean in 2019, and the Mexican driver getting past Romain Grosjean comfortably.
Where's the Sebastian Vettel? Here it is. Here it is. Oh, they're showing that. Oh, they're showing that. Oh, they showed that. They showed the Sebastian Vettel. I didn't see it live. I didn't even know it happened until several years after, but that still brings me so much pain. Here we go. Sebastian had a lot of heartbreaks from 2018 to 2019, including 2 championships.
We'll see what happens when we get to the action. Here's the starting grid then, and it's Charles Leclerc and Yuki Tsunoda on the back row.
It's gonna be fun to watch. Charles all the way at the back. Yuki maybe, but Charles mainly. I think Seb should also have pace. Perez is going to be really fun to watch. Assuming they all make it through turn 1 and 2.
He's just ahead of Alex Albon in 12, and then it's Joe Guan Yu qualifying in the top 10 for the first time ever. Daniel Ricciardo.
Oh, Daniel Ricciardo, he's 9th. George is 8th. There's George. It's going to have, what, the inside line, right? There's Mick and Kevin. Let's go Mick. He needs a good finish. He needs to not crash the car and have a $2 billion crash. There's Fernando. Come on. Come on. We're all rooting for Alonso today.
What a grid we've got, what a race we've got, Martin Brundle. Cannot wait for the next 70 laps.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
This isn't going to be a good battle for the lead today, I don't think. Unless Fernando gets ahead magically by turn 1. If he can't get in front, then Max is going to run away with this. The main battle would be, well, a late safety car would change everything too. It seems in these past couple of years, safety cars could happen at any point all of a sudden. Here we go. Do I have a cut on my finger? I feel like I do. I can't see it. Somewhere. I don't know.
The hard is seen as a good race tyre here. Nobody, I think, unless they do a short stint somewhere, fancies those soft compound tyres.
They trim the wing level.
What's going to go on? Formation lap is in. It's 2 o'clock. Okay. Formation lap is in within the next 60 seconds. Probably like. Yeah, everyone's getting off the grid. 15.
For the first time ever, and you go back to 1993, Martin Brundle, for the last time.
Here we go.
Second here has led the first lap.
It's a short lap too, so it's a short formation lap.
From somewhere near London today. That was the last man, Damon Hill, 93.
As I left the grid, somebody who shall remain nameless but is quite high up
Here we go.
Alpine said, "We are going for it. We want to lead the first."
Oh, Fernando had a terrible,
As I said on the grid, also, you know,
terrible getaway on the formation lap. Sainz was ahead of him. I saw Lewis almost passing him.
earlier on in the Sky One show saying, "Look, I think my true pace in the dry is 6th or 7th," but you know, there, as I said, pretty much 3/4 of the pack are out of position
exactly.
for one reason or another today.
And I say Alonso's never started alongside Max Verstappen. He has actually started alongside Max's dad, Jos Verstappen, on 4 previous occasions. And talking of dads everywhere around the world,
wow.
Happy Father's Day to you.
Fernando started alongside Jos Verstappen.
Sebastian Vettel,
more than Max.
Comes Nicholas Latifi and Charles Leclerc. And whilst Max Verstappen is making his way to turn 8 at the moment, well, some still haven't got through turn 1.
I mean, sure, I like Fernando, but we could have Oscar Piastri instead. And Fernando's like probably 147 at this point.
Really, as you say, the pack is really spread out as they were slow
Oh,
getting
yeah, look how short the lap is. They're already at the hairpin. Coming onto the final straightaway before the Wall of Champions. Has someone ever binned it on the formation lap like there? Probably not, but everybody has points this year too. Wow. Has that ever happened this early in the season where every team has a point? Previous wins. Hamilton, Vettel, Hamilton, Hamilton, Hamilton. 2014 was Daniel, right? Don't know 2013. I think 2012 was No, that was 2009. I would assume 12, 11, and 10. Maybe even 13 were all Vettel. I think 2009 was Jensen. 2008, no clue. 2007 was Lewis.
People might be thinking out there, Martin, if there's such a spread between the field, why were the Red Bull team telling Max Verstappen to slow it down?
Well,
you're not allowed to on the formation lap.
Here we go.
Communication, are you?
Yeah, that's right. They stopped that kind of information, but going over. But anyway, they're now coming.
There are cars stopped back there.
They've got to take their slots. They're 8 meters apart.
Is that even allowed?
There are now signs on the side of the wall there, so you can see where you've got to park.
Is that even allowed to stop on the grid? Or not on the grid, but like... This is actually really loud. It doesn't matter though. Here we go. They are waiting a long time. There we go. 5 red lights. That was weak, David. Oh no. Max got away. Hamilton locked up into the first corner. Everyone's clean. And this race is over already.
Magnussen had a tremendous start for Haas there. They're all clean then as they head down to turn 6 and 7.
Is that Ocon? That's Alonso. No, it's not. That's Ocon.
He's hanging on in there.
He is hanging on in there. Esteban Ocon, his
teammate. Lower the volume a little bit. Everybody's been seriously clean on the starts this year. This is weird. Where last week it seemed that there was a huge pile up. There goes George. Rip Mick. Let's go, George.
Between the Spaniard Fernando Alonso in second and his family friends and to an extent protege, his fellow Spaniard Carlos Sainz in third.
Here's Joe Guan Yu and Daniel Ricciardo having a little tussle going into that final.
Oh, someone missed the chicane. It's Valtteri. Oh, did he knock down the bollard into the middle of the track? He might have. I saw something fly out there. And it wasn't a wing.
Bottas went through the chicane. It looks like he actually hit the bollard. You're supposed to go round, did Valtteri Bottas, through the final chicane there. And that's put it into the pit straight, if I saw in the back of the picture.
I think we should get a safety car for that.
Sebastian Vettel, Lance Stroll also gaining a place. Pierre Gasly has dropped 3 places. Yuki Tsunoda up 1 and Nicholas Latifi in his home Grand Prix running plumb last as it stands.
Oh, wing damage for Kevin.
Here in Montreal, and there's damage, I think, Kevin Magnussen.
No.
Yeah, it is. the stewards will be looking at that, make sure it's not dangerous. In terms of pieces flying off, you've got to think of the...
Hopefully he's not losing too much pace because of that.
But he was very close to Lewis Hamilton, was he, in the first few corners?
And not for the first time this season. Remember back to Barcelona where Magnussen ended up in the gravel and it rather ruined Lewis Hamilton's race too. We're on board with Carlos Sainz, who might just be finding here Fernando Alonso's a little bit of a blockage. As we get onto the second lap, DRS will be activated. The drag
Fernando is a blockage.
16 kilometers an hour.
Where have I heard that before? The Spanish Prime Minister of Defense? Hey, Gleyber Torres home run. Let's go. Yankees are so damn good this year. Jeez, Max really got away.
Alonso was a little slow reacting in comparison to everyone around him. That's what it looked like with the naked eye. And you can already see Hamilton on the inside and Magnussen on the outside getting very, very close. And maybe that's where the initial contact happened between the two drivers into turn 3.
They were really close, like 4 times there. Could have touched.
Good spatial awareness there from Lewis. He knew the car was on the outside, but squeezed it a little bit as he takes his racing line through there.
There, I think that's the damage. Here's Valtteri.
Valtteri Bottas, you mentioned going straight on at the chicane, and we see that quite a bit. Now, what happened to the bollard? Whoops. Oh,
just tagged it.
Passing his driving test, would he, with that?
Does he get points for that? I wonder. Here goes Carlos Sainz ahead of Fernando Alonso.
Alonso just got passed. And it only took 3 laps. But Lewis is up next.
That's where Verstappen got that extra advantage.
George got past. Ocon.
We see some small front wing damage, but there's very little effect, so it's okay for us.
Well, they know there's very little.
Okay, but it looks like Magnussen has a damaged front wing.
Yeah, I can see it's hanging off. It's all got to thorn.
DRS and
If it was easy, I think it did the face off.
That's further and further to the outside.
So Alonso already passed by Carlos Sainz. Hamilton is now right on his rear wing. And
Russell's almost back up into the top 5. Classic George.
For Carlos Sainz to make his strategy work today. Already 2 seconds behind Max Verstappen. He'll see if he's got any pace in his pocket to get after the Dutchman. Gasly, after losing so many places at the start, has got
Sainz isn't out of this. Leclerc's only up to 16th as well. Perez to 11th.
Long afternoon ahead then for Pierre Gasly. Long charge up the field for Charles Leclerc.
Yeah, L plan has failed.
Joe Guan Yu has got ahead of Daniel Ricciardo. He's 9th. Ricciardo runs 10th.
Can Sainz also be part of L plan since he's Spanish?
Bottas now and out in front, 3.3 seconds, the margin that Max Verstappen has over Carlos Sainz. And Sainz has got himself a bit of a battle going on with Alonso and Hamilton here.
Yeah, he's not exactly scampered away, has he? Having passed Alonso. And he needs to control the gap to Verstappen and keep some pressure on the Red Bull. I know there'll be some time management going on while they've got over 100 kilograms of fuel on board.
Russell should be able to get Magnussen soon. Hopefully, get up there. George could possibly get up into 2nd. Don't go for it here, though, George. George has to wait till his back's straight. That's early. Oh, wait, he's past the detection point, though, so... Okay, it's not early. Oh, he doesn't get DRS?
The reason he hasn't scampered off is
because he's got left front graining.
I thought the audio was going to come in, but yeah, he's been complaining on more than one occasion that he's got graining. And Alonso is in the DRS. Alpine have said to Alonso, just keep going with the DRS. Having said that, Sainz has just done the fastest lap of the race.
Black and orange flag has been shown for Kevin Magnussen.
Yeah, so you're obliged to stop and repair the car. And disappointment there then. Gasly and Vettel have both pitted on this lap. So that must presumably they've been getting some grading or something, and that has to be strategic, doesn't it? Because there's no safety car or anything like that. But that's really bad news for Magnussen, currently in 6th place.
That's going to ruin his race. It really is. Verstappen leads under 3 seconds now between himself and Carlos Sainz, so we can watch Joe Guan Yu a few moments ago.
Okay, I'm back.
Ricardo, and this is how he managed it down that long straight that runs parallel with the rowing lake here in Montreal. He makes the move.
That was a nifty little pass by George.
Key move for George Russell, not only the only driver this season to finish in the points in every race, but he's finished in the top 5 in every race too. Meanwhile,
Wait, George is the only driver to earn a point in every... Dude, he's a legend. He's the best. I told you. George Russell. I told you he's better than Lewis. He's better than Michael Schumacher. That could age poorly, but I'll say for now, he's better than Michael Schumacher. He's the best of all time. Or will be.
If it was graining, and if Sainz is also suffering graining on his mediums, well, Martin, we are definitely in for a 2-stop race here. The medium tyres aren't holding up this early.
It's looking that way. We talk about the green track.
Verstappen is not pulling away. Hear me out. If George has pace in this thing... Okay, maybe Max is pulling away a little bit. But hear me out. If George finds pace... Canadian Grand Prix win, Pierre. They're pitting already. They're boxing already.
Yes, it's exactly the same line if you're braking heavily for the final chicane or freewheeling into the pits as fast as you can.
So we have the rear view now from the Haas.
Okay, Kev, we have been given a black and orange flag, so we have to hits to change this front wing.
Magnussen has to pit.
Kevin Magnussen's reaction to that, but I would imagine it wasn't exactly suitable for a family broadcast because Magnussen, who was running in 6th place, now coming into the pits. It's an early pit stop that he could have done without.
Yeah, it's about a dozen seconds because you can't use the front jack. The front jack normally lifts the car on the nose, so that's got to come off. So you put side jacks in. At least they can change the tyres as well. But if they can get it, it's way longer than a dozen seconds, unfortunately, isn't it? It's going to be more like 22 seconds. And Charles Leclerc in 14th place now is somewhat stuck in what we call a DRS train. In fact, everybody in front of him has got the rear wing open, and it's rather halted his progress.
Hamilton's fallen off.
Nearly a pit stop behind Verstappen already.
And the problem for Kevin Magnussen as he leaves the pits.
The Hamilton-Russell battle is closing in.
He was 6th. He's now behind Gasly and running 20th by an extra long pit stop that he could have done without. Right, Karun down to you. Oh, no. We'll stay on
Perez.
With Sergio Perez.
I love the engine.
Oh,
safety car. Please no opening. Please no opening. Damn it, there's an opening there. No, safety car.
Another retirement for Red Bull.
Got to be a safety car.
The engine, man. I'm stuck in gear.
So it sounds more like the hydraulics have gone then and the throttle's gone, I'd imagine.
Well, there goes one of the people trying to make this race interesting.
Marshall's out on track. Is anybody coming around that way? Verstappen's, yeah, I'm not surprised.
I checked Twitter to see that. That's how I knew it was Perez.
Virtual safety car. Race gets neutralized and the drivers have to
VSC is out.
Now no overtaking, drive to within 40% of their normal lap times. Sergio Perez had a 100% finishing record here in Montreal and a 100% finishing record this season, but it's the 3rd time Red Bull have had a mechanical DNF.
No, it isn't.
Oh dear.
Perez was out in Bahrain.
I know he had that spin right at the end.
Time for a cheap pit stop now. So it's the exit of turn 7.
Oh, that doesn't sound very good.
Surely that's a transmission problem. That sounds more like a transmission problem to me than an engine problem, and there's no smoke coming out of it. But we will see. I think when they come round, it's pity they didn't put the full safety car out, frankly.
But here's the thing, Martin. They're moving that car now. Max could go by the time the rest of the field get towards the pit lane. Ted Kravitz, any movement in the pit lane at all?
Ferrari are going to make a stop. Looks like Red Bull are coming out as well.
Verstappen's in.
Straight in front of me. It's too good an opportunity to miss, especially as these tyres seem to be going off quite quickly. Vettel's stop was a planned stop.
Hamilton is in.
Obviously, the top right cars.
How come Russell lost so much time? He's 8 seconds back.
But nothing from George Russell, nothing from the other cars as well. We got some other people. It's a bit too early for some people, Crofty. If you're in trouble with your tyres, it's worth coming in now. Save you 10 seconds.
So the virtual safety car still in operation. Sainz didn't stop. Alonso didn't stop. Max Verstappen did to go onto the hard compound tyres. George Russell didn't stop. Esteban Ocon didn't stop. Lewis Hamilton, as we saw, did make his stop. Comes out in 6th.
So I'm assuming Sainz was told do whatever he doesn't do in terms of following Verstappen. But of course, that's with so many teams choosing not to stop. Verstappen, that worked all right. It worked all right, actually. He's come out in 3rd place. He will get.
Should Verstappen be concerned
in terms of Alonso and Sainz, but Sainz
with this? I mean, his teammate just had an odd failure.
But maybe they think there'll be another one.
But they've gone for track position, which is not normally what you do here in Montreal, because you can make those overtakes. But as you rightly say, Martin, the threat of a safety car or a virtual safety car is always high here, and that's why they decided, well, we can go a bit longer. We might get another safety car soon, and still they haven't cleared that Red Bull car away. So still we're under the virtual safety car. Making a move up the field, Mick Schumacher, Joe Guan Yu, Daniel Ricciardo, Alex Albon, Valtteri Bottas, Lando Norris, and Charles Leclerc, and Lance Stroll. They did.
Yes, he is ending.
Safety car is ending, and Yuki Tsunoda has been into the pits, as has Vettel, Gasly, Latifi and Magnussen. So we restart this race with 19 cars running.
We're back green.
Track clear, off we go once again. And that's not
downforce, more wing angle, gives you more drag then as well, of course, than his teammate in Lewis Hamilton. But Charles Leclerc, we know they trimmed that Ferrari out, but he's not exactly breezing past people at the back.
Wait, this is on ABC? I'm watching it on the app, so I have no clue.
When he needs his cars in front of him not to have DRS, and sadly for Charles Leclerc, he's got cars in front of him with DRS at the moment. So let's focus on this battle. Mick Schumacher and Joe Guan Yu. Carlos Sainz, who's not led more than 3 laps in a race in 2022. So, down the straight, has Joe Guan Yu got the pace? What about Lewis Hamilton's pace? Hamilton behind Esteban Ocon. The Alpine has looked racing, but
that Mercedes, this is a risky move. Backs out. In the turn 1, he's going to have him easily, though.
Has got a decent exit on the fresher tyres, and is racing Ocon now down towards turn 1. These two have collided and tangled together in 2022, but not on this occasion. Lewis Hamilton.
They have? Where did Ocon and Hamilton run into each other?
Yeah, and of course he has got the pit stop out of the way, or a pit stop out of the way anyway, but Ocon was hard but fair there. But of course Hamilton then gets another dose of DRS down the pit straight.
So Sainz, maximum push, extending his advantage over Fernando Alonso, 3.2 seconds now. Verstappen is starting to set purple sectors, best sectors, fastest sector times on the hard compound tyre in 3rd place.
Man, George just doesn't have the pace to sweep. But he does have top 5 pace, which is the important thing here. Keep that streak alive.
Yeah, I half expect to see Ocon slicing back up the inside, but Lewis on his fresh tyres breaking very late indeed, and almost too late there, but got the move done nicely, and an important move there for Lewis Hamilton.
Joe Guan Yu once again with DRS, this time to try and get past Mick Schumacher, and Schumacher's getting closer to the front of that Alfa Romeo, but still keeping on to that 7th place. Mick Schumacher yet to score points in Formula 1 and running in 7th place, and we keep our fingers crossed for a clear afternoon for him this afternoon. But what about Red Bull? Sergio
for Checo, because
isn't the gearbox replaced every 6 races, and this was like race 7 of the season? That sucks.
Well, of course, it's always a concern, but yeah, we've just got to get our heads down now and do the best we can with Max. So, it's obviously a different strategy to the 2 cars ahead. So
I much prefer Otmar Safnauer over Christian.
It could well be, particularly for us. it really depends how the deg is over the next 10 or so laps. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
Christian, thanks ever so much. We'll be back with you if we can a little later in the race. We are on board now, or we were, with Charles Leclerc. That's the challenge he has ahead of him. Lando Norris in the McLaren, and Norris trying to break the toe. The Ferrari's got speed.
Charles gets ahead.
The Alfa Romeo and into the chicane. The Ferrari ahead of the McLaren. Albon leads Bottas, leads Leclerc, leads Norris.
Yeah, that's what we talk about with the DRS train, because Lando Norris in front of Leclerc also had his rear wing open, but the Ferrari had enough pace to get the job done. But I really thought Charles would be higher than 12th by now, I must say. I thought it, but he just caught up in the traffic, and he's, he hasn't pitted yet, but he's still over a pit stop behind Carlos Sainz leading the race.
Charles Leclerc, now he's past Lando Norris, kind of fancies Valtteri Bottas. It could be a stubborn obstacle at times, but Bottas will also get DRS and has got DRS in his pursuit of Alex Albon.
Yeah, Charles needs one per lap now. One overtake per lap somehow to bring himself into contention for some world championship.
Sainz has really pulled away from Fernando now. George is holding off Lewis as well. Gap is not closing. It's closed by 1/10 in the last since the restart.
But has taken a pit stop behind the virtual safety car, and that's why he finds himself currently third. Alonso stayed out, Sainz stayed out, Russell also stayed out. Understood. So Russell just wants to say, keep it simple, keep it simple. You lose less time in a virtual safety car with a pit stop. That's why Mercedes pitted Hamilton. He could be racing a next second when the likes of Sainz and Alonso and Russell all stop. So Hamilton might be down to fifth, but when the others pit, he could find himself in the top two.
Yeah, George Russell's realising Mercedes can be on the podium today, and he's just realising that at the moment, Lewis has very much got the upper hand with that safety car pit stop.
Yeah, quite. On board then with Max Verstappen, as I said, right behind Fernando Alonso. And now going through the gears with DRS active up to 200 miles an hour.
Well, that was easy.
Waved goodbye by Max Verstappen. That was very easy indeed. Kind of bears out why Alonso on the grid was saying we're not racing really. Max Verstappen today. Easy overtake for Verstappen. He's back up into the top two.
We definitely need to look at these DRS zones. They're too long, aren't they? They're making it too effective for the easy overtakes.
Not effective enough for Charles Leclerc at the moment. As Alex Albon, and Valtteri Bottas get close going into that final chicane, and out of it. Absolutely wringing the wheels off that Ferrari is Charles Leclerc, but he's just not getting near enough.
No, because he's slower on the way out of the hairpin down at turn 10. He was slower out of the final chicane there. He doesn't appear to have a whole lot of rear grip on that Ferrari.
Ted Kravitz, down to you.
Not the only one, he's not the only one, Martin. I think Alonso's starting to lose grip quite considerably on his tyres. I think they're thinking about a stop on the Alpine pit wall. We'll let you know if it happens the next lap or two. Russell has responded to Hamilton, hasn't he? Although just on the last lap, Hamilton again closing up on him. So that's very, very tight. We'll see what happens with Hamilton potentially getting very, very close to Russell. And Zhou Guanyu is trying his luck on Mick Schumacher, much quicker behind in the Sauber than the Haas in P7. So there might be a fight there quite soon.
Yeah, well, they've been close together for a few laps now. None closer than this little quartet at the moment. Albon, Bottas, Leclerc and Norris. If you're just joining us and tuning in here and you're a Sky Q or a Sky Glass customer and you want to see what's happened so far in the Canadian Grand Prix, press your red button and you can watch highlights alongside the live action, which is now taking place down that back straight. Alex Albon trying to break the toe. Valtteri Bottas having nothing of it. Bottas tries to go around the outside. He is just two car lengths from making that move stick, and I think Leclerc wants that move to stick because Leclerc thinks he can get past the Williams a bit more easily.
I don't think he's got the traction. He hasn't got the rear grip, Leclerc, at the moment. They've trimmed it out for aero to hopefully get it past some cars. That hasn't worked, and you can just watch it, wagging its tail coming out of so many of the slow corners.
So what would you do with Charles Leclerc? Is it worth just running him in a bit of free air and a bit of clean track, hitting him? He's got another set of hard compound tyres that he can stick on, a new set that could maybe go to the
I don't know about this race.
one safety car and you might luck into a result here.
Yeah, the trouble is put him behind Vettel and Gasly, won't it? Which could hold him up.
The good news, Russell's closing in.
It's not working at the moment.
Karun Chandok at Sky Race Control, what have you got for us?
Leclerc's been complaining about the differential on his car, Martin, so that may explain why the rear of his car's been a little bit wayward as we see Bottas trying to have a go at the hairpin. But Leclerc's been asking his engineers for advice on switches that he can change. Profit, do you take the move?
I was going to say Bottas a lot closer to Alex Albon on this occasion. He's wheel to wheel as we get towards the chicane. He's half a car length in front. He's a full car length in front. And finally, Valtteri Bottas manages to get himself into the points. But Charles Leclerc is now coming at Alex Albon. I said he might fancy his chances of getting past that Williams a bit easier. And that's exactly what happened. As soon as Albon was the car ahead of Charles Leclerc, Leclerc said thank you very much. And he's up to 11th.
Yeah, Albon's sitting duck there, though, because he got pinched to the inside of turn 13, which would mean he's always going to be slow, releasing off the exit of 40. And then with the DRS open, we just get the move done quite easily. So, great racing, isn't it?
It's superb. Action absolutely everywhere. So much so, Karun Chandok, we cut you off mid-sentence.
Yes, I was about to say, Lewis has been complaining that he doesn't think these tyres can get to the end of the race. So, to be honest, pitting on lap 10 to do 60 laps on a green track, as you guys have been talking about, bit optimistic. So I'm intrigued. I don't think Verstappen could go to the end of the race either on this same set.
So if he has
So what Karun is saying is this thing ain't over.
safety cars come into play as well, and the timing of your pit stop.
Also, George
This could be an easy win for the Red Bull driver this afternoon.
could still have a chance.
Conditions similar to when they ran their race strategies on Friday.
He's really closing in on Fernando as well.
Still on plan 8. They look better than expected. Lower deck.
Some good news for Carl.
That George won't make it difficult for him.
Sainz is leading this thing, and he could be on a perfect strategy here. If he could do it on one stop. I get Verstappen is faster. He might he probably will catch Sainz, but Sainz has pace. And soon they should be on equal tires after pitting. So, yeah.
He went wide.
He did.
Went across the runoff area.
Maybe spooked a little bit there.
Oh, wait, did Mick crash?
He's tumbling now out of the points. That move by Joe Guanyu has cost Mick Schumacher.
Oh, you've gotta be kidding me. Mick.
Where we saw Sergio Perez getting pushed off a few moments ago. This is another virtual safety car.
Why not a full safety car?
They read that one, didn't they?
So Sainz and Verstappen, Alonso and Hamilton.
And here we go again.
Under the virtual safety car.
They need to stop with the virtual safety. They should get rid of that. It's stupid.
That's played beautifully into George Russell's hands because he will come straight up behind he is behind his teammate Lewis Hamilton, but now of course with tyres that are put on lap 19 instead of lap 8 for Lewis.
Slow pit stop for Daniel Ricciardo though, stationary for 2.6 seconds. Sebastian Vettel in again, and that is the strategy from, I think, the Aston Martin team. As Lando Norris, slow stop from him. I think Vettel's coming for a second time here because they think they can go to the end of the race on a set of hard tyres for 50 laps. Ted, down to you.
Yeah, Vettel has, but it was a disastrously slow stop for Lando Norris. He was stacking, they were effectively stacking. I don't think the tyres were ready for Lando. He lost about 6 or 7 or 8 seconds. Now we've got another Ferrari, the other Ferrari coming in, presumably that's the leader, Sainz.
Charles Leclerc stayed out to get some track position. And this is Mick Schumacher. So it was nothing to do with the overtake. It was
he didn't crash.
Problems affecting the Haas.
Died on him, hasn't it?
Sorry, Ben.
It's arguably even worse. It's not even a driver error.
He was driving well, wasn't he?
What has that man got to do to score a point in Formula One? I feel so sorry for
Nick is turning into the new George. Look at him. All these great shots for points and they all get thrown away. Oh, we're back green.
Carlos Sainz in and out to preserve his position over Lewis Hamilton.
Yes, because the pit lane, obviously, as you can see, feeds into the outside of turn 2, which is quite handy there, and has given us quite a bit of excitement since they changed that.
But we have got Carlos Sainz on colder tyres, Lewis Hamilton on tyres that are nicely warmed up, and a decent little battle that's going to be going on here. Verstappen leads the race. Fernando Alonso is in second.
Oh, Hamilton versus Sainz.
Everyone else apart from Lando Norris is on the hard compound tyre, including Carlos
This could
Sainz
get good. This could help George.
the Mercedes that we ride on board with. And let's just see, with DRS enabled, the speed of the Mercedes compared to the speed of the Ferrari.
Yeah, but the Ferrari just released off the hairpins beautifully there, and it built a nice gap. But a bit surprised Alpine didn't pit Fernando Alonso. Maybe they think there'll be yet another safety car of some kind.
Maybe the one-stop strategy is the one they think they can work out best. Hamilton with DRS gaining on Carlos Sainz, but he's going to run out of straight. And whilst we look at that Ferrari being pursued by Mercedes, the other Ferrari of Charles Leclerc, as I mentioned, up into 8th place now. Started 19th in this race, but Leclerc...
Charles is working forward.
And Leclerc really going for it ahead of Valtteri Bottas now.
Oh, he barely made the corner.
Into that final chicane.
Slight bit more speed for Charles, and he would have been in the wall of champions.
He's going to have to do to get some points today. Of course, he desperately needs points. Perez is now, Perez second in the World Championship, out of the race. And of course, reigning World Champion, World Championship leader, Verstappen has kind of had the weekend to himself, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
By and large.
7 seconds clear at the end of lap 21. His teammate Sergio Perez out of this race with what could be gearbox issues, and also Mick Schumacher out of this race too. Now, Fernando Alonso in second place has Carlos Sainz behind him.
Sainz has already caught Fernando.
Very easy pass with DRS.
Why am I so tired?
Ladies and gentlemen, here in Montreal this afternoon, Sainz puts himself up into second place. Now it's Lewis Hamilton next to try and get past Fernando Alonso, and I dare say he might have to wait until we get to the back straight next time around. Just to fill you in on Lando Norris, by the way, they were double stacking down at McLaren in the pit stop, trying to bring both in at the same time. We can actually have a look at it now. Ricciardo came in, he had a slow stop. Front right was the one that just wouldn't come off, and he was stationary for about 6.5 seconds. That then saw Lando Norris having to wait a bit longer, and the tyres I don't think were ready. It was the medium tyre on the front left, and if we look at the front right, just seeing here the confusion because they put the wrong tyre on the front left. Now they can get the hard tyres on, which is what they wanted to put on, but they were just waiting and waiting and waiting for that to happen.
Lando did the Mercedes. Oh, that brings back bad memories.
Hung on to that, didn't he? And yeah, great move as Lewis Hamilton homes in on his former nemesis, Fernando Alonso.
And a man who's held him up once or twice in the past couple of years as well, but Fernando Alonso hasn't been into the pits yet. These tyres are a lot older than Hamilton's.
Comes Lewis.
From behind the rear wing of the Alpine, and
there goes Lewis.
by the time they put the brakes on and into that final chicane and pass by the wall of champions once more. Verstappen leads by 9.3 seconds from Carlos Sainz. Then comes Lewis Hamilton. Then
Well, Verstappen still has to pit. Sainz might not have to. Sainz doesn't have to pit. He could win. He could finally win. I wish I could say that about George.
Joe Guan Yu is right behind Lance Stroll. Now Stroll hasn't pitted. Joe Guan Yu has. Bottas and Leclerc also haven't pitted in this race, and the Aston Martin under pressure from the Alfa Romeo, and Joe Guan Yu trying to go around the outside, but Stroll in his home race is having none of that whatsoever. He started right at the back, did Lance Stroll here in 17th place twice. He's come through to finish in the points here in Montreal from that particular position, and he's doing something that this Silverstone-based team have done a lot in the past, and that's going very, very long for the first stint.
Sainz's hard tyres then are a dozen laps younger and fresher than Verstappen's out front, so Verstappen will need a little bit of time management just to make sure.
We don't have enough speed. You're doing very good, Joe. Keep pressure high, just keep pressure high.
He wants to get past the Aston Martin. He thinks the Aston has got a top speed that they just can't compete with at the moment. Obviously, scored points in his first race. Did Joe Guan Yu, the 66th driver, to score points on his debut in Formula One, but he's been waiting quite a long time for his next points haul, and he thinks it might come today.
Yeah, you see, when you lose your head a little bit like that and get angry on the road, then he locked his brakes into the hairpin. You've got to stay focused on your... You've got what we got. I understand his frustration, but you have to stay focused.
On board then with the first ever Chinese driver to race in Formula One, and he'll be looking at the rear of that Aston Martin, struggling for traction at the exit of turn 2 and thinking, right,
why am I so damn tired?
I might have a long enough back straight to try and get past you. Behind these two runs the Alpha Tauri of Yuki Tsunoda. And Tsunoda very much in touch with this battle currently. It's out in front. Verstappen and Sainz pretty much lapping within a few hundredths of a second of each other currently. The Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton round about 0.4 of a second slower. Fernando Alonso starting to lose pace with the top 3.
Yeah, strange strategy there for Alpine, but Russell in 5th place is on the same pace as the edging towards the leader's pace. So he's quite happy with his car at the moment. And Mercedes,
I like to hear that. I love to hear that.
Mercedes are hanging on in 3rd place in the Constructors' Championship through consistency, not necessarily pace so far this season, as Stroll has a little look in his mirrors and says, right, where are you? Where are you, Joe? I know you're coming for me, but which side are you going to try and overtake me on? I'll try and position my car and make it as wide as I possibly can, and he does a decent enough job once more into turn 1 to keep Joe Guan Yu a little bit more frustrated.
The Alpha's going well this afternoon, isn't it? And Valtteri Bottas just up the road, he got a warning flag for clipping that bollard we saw at the end of the first lap. So
Penrod.
It's reliability that's been
oh yeah, Penrod.
this season. A lot of mechanical DNFs, and the team
Yes, Lively. On this stream, we support Penrod because Penrod is Penrod.
Charles Leclerc, he's got Esteban Ocon on his sights, and whilst we do that, let's head down to 10.
Penrod is... No. That's sad. Get well soon, Penrod. Okay, well, on this stream, we give Penrod our prayers. We give him our prayers and hope he will be alright in the end. Oh, I can't show that. I can't show that. That's too much. No. No, Lively. No. We can't call. No. Well, yes, you will pray about Penrod. Here comes George. Penrod. Okay, enough about Penrod right now. Hopefully he doesn't die. I'll deal with Penrod after this.
Absolutely, and yes, you will have fresher tyres at the end. However, you might have lost quite a bit in the process leading up to that. Although, if others do have to stop once again, is a one-stop strategy from Fernando Alonso. The best way forward. His teammate, Esteban Ocon, has stopped. Charles Leclerc, of course, from the back of the grid, hasn't stopped, and he's got track position. He's made his way through the field, and he's currently lying in 7th place. And into the hairpin we go. Tantalisingly close enough, the Alpine, but not close enough for Leclerc. Experienced driver as he is now, racing in what is his 89th Grand Prix. Not close enough for him to make that dive. The thing is, the Ferrari doesn't seem to have the instant impacts down that straight to get past the Alpine. It's got pace, but not quite enough, and Ocon comfortably holding him off there, and comfortably holding him off down the main straight too.
Surprising, isn't it? Well, he certainly threw the anchors out late at turn 10 hairpin, did Charles Leclerc, and you sense if he could just get a bit of fresh air for a while, and there is some fresh air in front of Ocon, Leclerc can suddenly start to bring himself back into
the bean.
A chance of a haul of points.
We were talking about Fernando. To extend this stint as long as they possibly can. Keep us posted, they say. Well, I've got graining, left front especially. says Fernando Alonso. It's the left front.
Oh, wait, no. Charles might catch George. Come on, Ocon. Come on. Come on. I don't care about Leclerc anymore. Come on, Ocon. You got this. You got this, man. Defend like a lion. Defend like a lion. Comes Alonso.
Yeah, that makes more sense. Here they come. Yeah, so no virtual safety car, but trying to do the one stop. They might still do the one stop. You never know. Everybody else, I would think, have to stop again. Fernando.
Imagine being a Haas fan.
So how long does this hard time?
To be fair, I think everybody likes Haas now. Somewhat.
From the other people who put it on, even ones at the second safety car, that was probably not. So Alonso going long now on these hard tyres. Good luck to him.
Yeah, the one they might have to keep an eye on a little bit later in this race is Sebastian Vettel, who's trying to go 50 laps.
Can Alonso possibly get Leclerc because Ocon holds him up?
Others, assuming we don't get any safety cars.
Let's see.
Yeah, I spotted that. And, you could see him edging towards the wall, counter-steering all the way through, and Alonso then out behind him on the fresh tyres. So, with
Russell needs a safety car to pull them back in.
Of Esteban Ocon, yeah, Alpine, I think they decided quite early on that we're fighting Leclerc. Yeah. You know, forget the rest of them around us.
Verstappen, yeah, he's running away. Wait. Hold up. Sainz might be able to go to the end. Verstappen, there's no way in hell he can. Even if Verstappen could go to the end, Sainz is closing, and he has the fastest lap now. Max Verstappen maybe won't. Sainz is really closing. I think that gap was 10 seconds, not too long. When I say not too long ago, I mean like 2 laps ago. Now it's 8. And it's not a mistake because Sainz all of a sudden has the fastest lap as well. Here comes the pace. And if Verstappen pits, he's going to be behind Hamilton as well. I get they're not fighting for the championship, but oh man. Verstappen versus Hamilton again? Again? Surely neither of them have forgotten about last year. And let me see, the roughly 58 crashes they had.
He hasn't stopped in this race yet. Neither has Stroll. He's on 29 lap old tyres. Joe Granier catching him.
So he's still in DRS, there's Charles Leclerc there, but yeah, Sainz has got the gap down to 8.4 at the moment. It was 8.2 at the end of the last lap. It was over 9 seconds. He's edged a second out of Verstappen.
By saying stuff like that, you're going to make people go away. You're going to make people tune away. You're going to make them turn off the race. He needs to be more optimistic. Didn't we have this whole conversation with the Fox broadcast and Bill Elliott? Not like me, but like Mike Joy and Clint Boyer and everybody. Didn't everybody in the Fox booth when Bill Elliott was commentating with them, didn't they all go on how you have to be optimistic? And it worked for Joey.
And that's then affected, and you somehow, with the drag these cars create, you never quite get to the top speed you should if you don't get a good exit off the corner. A little bit closer this time, but look how wide he has to run. That then makes turn 11 almost a turn, which in the dry, and there's 12, which you kind of ignore, pretend doesn't exist, but he's really having
no, not quite. Front straightaway though. 1/10 a lap would take 80 laps though, 79 laps, that wouldn't be enough. Leclerc does not have the pace. And Alonso doesn't either. George does not have the pace either. The Mercedes are equal.
He's obviously babysitting his tyres for a while, getting to the end.
Meanwhile, nursing his tyres out in front, still not looking like he's going to make a pit stop anytime soon, is Lance Stroll doing a fine job with Joe Guanyu behind him. This, the train of cars with Stroll rather holding up Joe Guanyu. Tsunoda and Ricciardo have now joined in the fun to a certain extent, which will just add to the frustrations of the Alfa Romeo team, because as soon as he gets past Stroll, and he will eventually, defending somewhat from Yuki Tsunoda and Daniel Ricciardo behind him.
Interesting little battle at Mercedes-Benz over what would be the final place on the podium at the moment. Lewis is a half a pit stop ahead of George, time-wise, and if he is 2 stopping to George's 1, they will come together towards the end of the race in terms of nose to tail.
Well, Mercedes say let the drivers race. I mean, it's not a strategy decision. Let's let the drivers race. Sounds like a good idea for a Sunday afternoon for me.
Absolutely.
George has finally brought the gap inside of 10 to Lewis.
Actually, but they've, you know, the DRS is powerful for some and not for others. Like he's taking a lot of curve, which went on board Max then. I thought he was in the middle of a moment.
I feel like I'm already losing tire grip. Okay, understood.
So Max Verstappen, who came in for a change of tyres on lap 8, has 24-year-old hard compound tyres on.
24-year-old tires, yes.
Here, do you think?
If the tyre will let you do that, yeah, you basically rub the top of the surface off and then it starts coming towards you. Your fuel load's going away as well. Sainz got the gap down to 8 seconds now. That'll be a great motivator for Ferrari to hear that, if it's a true message. If it's not just, you know, not just spinning a yarn there. But he sounded duly concerned, didn't he?
Joe against Lance. Lance against Joe. We've seen that battle for quite a while. Yuki and Daniel joining in the fun too. 4 cars separated by just a couple of seconds as they go through that final chicane. And still hanging on to 9th place, where he's finished a couple of times here in Montreal before. Lance Stroll, starting 17th on both occasions where he started today. He's keeping them all at bay. Ted, down to you.
I've got an idea for a book, Crofty.
Have you?
Yeah, Alex Albon and Lando Norris's sad Canadian Grand Prix race stories.
Doesn't sound like a bestseller to me.
Well, Montreal Tales of Woe with Norris and Albon. So they're running 16th and 17th with some terrible stories of woe for both of them. Albon stopped a lap before the second virtual safety car, has tumbled down the order and can't do anything. Do you remember he was P10?
This ain't happening.
So really got held out. Unlucky under that second virtual safety car. Can't do anything further than that. Lando Norris, we know about the problem with the pit stop, and is now behind Alex Albon and can't progress. Even if he could, we don't know how much quicker he could be because of this engine degradation on the McLaren. Yeah, Crofty. Maybe you want to fill that story in, and then I'll pick up with something else about Lewis Hamilton.
Well, he had the problem, didn't he, yesterday with the...
Now, if they're talking about Sainz and, or not Sainz, Hamilton and Russell, how Hamilton would have to box and Russell wouldn't. Verstappen pitted with Hamilton, Sainz pitted with Russell. So theoretically it would be the same there, you would have to think, and Verstappen would also come out behind Lewis. Again. I can't stress this enough, but the battle is back, potentially. Won't be much of a battle, but hey, who knows?
On engine power, so just bear that in mind when you consider his performance for the rest of the race. But I've got another idea for a book. What happened to the worst car I've ever driven around Canada? By Lewis Hamilton. He's in 3rd place. He's keeping okay with Carlos Sainz on lap time. 1:17 for Sainz, 1:17.7 for Sainz, and 1:17.7 for Hamilton. So yeah, I mean, what happened to Hamilton's worst car I've ever driven around here? It's not going so bad now.
I don't know what he's called his car, Martin. Maybe Lazarus after this.
Well, I'm pretty sure they put George's setup on. They said on Friday we went in completely different directions trying to find something, and yeah, Lewis described it as undrivable.
It was experimental to start with, it was undrivable to finish with, and you're probably right. They've converged into George's setup, and it's doing him rather nicely at the moment. Poor old Joe Guanyu. The strategy that he's been put on sees him behind Lance Stroll lap after lap after lap. And to be fair, Stroll doing a super job for Aston Martin there.
Yeah, hanging on to those tyres nicely up in P9. And Corinne's got more information for us.
Yeah, just watching Charles Leclerc listening to the radio. He's basically come on and said, I can't do it anymore, guys. I am stuck behind Ocon. So essentially he's trying to say to them, it's time to finally give up this particular battle. Pit.
No, I wanted to show the little guy on stream before. I won't say what I'll do to him. Look at him, look at him, look at him. No, no. Look, where is he? No, no. He's up my shirt, or my hoodie. That's it.
He's absolutely disconsolate at the moment. Well, not just stuck here, and it's going to take a long, long battle for him to come back through the pack.
I just kind of squished my hoodie around, and I don't feel movement anymore, so I think I've succeeded.
You want to be running this race? Just ask the Alfa Romeo pit wall.
Yeah, and as Lewis's tyres start to fall away, George Russell is putting in his personal best, trying to close that gap. As I said, one of those two Mercedes will... Well,
Oh, there he is. Hey, get over here. That's it.
Fascinating to see which one it is.
At the moment,
No. Look. No. No. Ah. I got it. Look. Oh, are you trying to bite me? You know what? Hit and run.
For his second stop in this race. The gap from Sainz back to Hamilton, just under 10 seconds. George Russell, just over 9 seconds, drift of his teammate Lewis Hamilton. Esteban Ocon now starting to settle into a long
Russell gaining. Sainz gaining. You'll love to see it. How about that? You all saw nothing.
Not making any impression on those in front, but he's certainly making an impression on Charles Leclerc for all the wrong reasons as far as Leclerc's concerned. He just can't get past him. Alonso.
I just realized I murdered a living thing on stream.
Carries on like this, striking distance all laps. Charles Leclerc is going to think about
And I'm laughing about it.
rather than offense, as Daniel Ricciardo for one moment thinks about
Lando Ricciardo.
on Yuki Tsunoda, and then realizes that there's nothing doing going into that final chicane.
Of course, they've got...
Look at Carlos. Go.
Lots of tyres available because we had a very wet day yesterday and a wet qualifying. So,
Wait. George. Fastest first sector.
I think they're good for much more than that. It does seem the medium and the hard are actually just better race tyres here, doesn't it? So
Now hang on.
they do have a decent stash of tyres. But a lot of the, I must say, the top dozen...
He's a little bit farther than a pit stop back
One new set of
from
mediums
Max.
and no U sets. But Alonso and Ocon had two of those, which might come in handy if they need to two-stop.
Yeah, we have to vote Latifi driver of the day as he's in the pits.
When we go to Silverstone in 2 weeks, the hard tyre here...
The gap is 7 seconds.
At Silverstone, Pirelli have 5 different types of compound, and depending on how many fast corners...
If Sainz pulls into the lead and looks like he's going to win this race, I'm voting him driver of the day. I forget if I voted driver of the day for Abu Dhabi.
I did, but just another tale of woe at Williams, and that's
6.9 seconds.
Latifi, who's had a very slow pitting to do.
Well,
Next week, Ted Kravitz.
I don't think
We've got 2 weeks before Silverstone.
Turning out more books than Stephen.
George got the fastest lap, sadly. No.
On the back there,
But he is closing.
it's fascinating. It's surprising just how hard it was breathing out the back.
Remember what happened last time? We all just out of the blue saw George Russell put in a purple first sector during an F1 session that mattered, where that got him in heavy rain in the wonderful country of Belgium.
The way it's working out, it's looking very nice for Red Bull, and another afternoon of what could have been for Ferrari and Charles Leclerc. If you're just joining us
You sure about that? Because it's 6.7.
if you're a Sky Q and a Sky Glass customer, press your red button and watch highlights of the race alongside the live action. The live action is Charles Leclerc trying to overtake Esteban Ocon. And I just hesitate for a moment because every single lap he gets close, but not quite close enough. Ocon holding on to 5th place. That Alpine team don't have a
I think that ant tried to bite me. My thumb doesn't hurt, but there's a weird feeling in it. It's more towards the joint, though. The Ferrari doesn't have the pace to pass, as we're seeing with Charles.
What Ferrari don't need is for Ocon, for Leclerc to pit, and then end up as a lapped runner, having to get out of the way, because he's currently 48.5 seconds behind in a lap that is 77 seconds. They're losing a good second a lap anyway, stuck there. So, yeah, it's something they need to be concerned about at Ferrari.
6.4.
Double trouble, as it were.
DRS wide open once again.
No.
Charles Leclerc, as he can't get past, and the trouble is he's just not getting the exits. That's Esteban Ocon.
Lance Stroll is in the points. Should we vote him driver of the day?
That's why he's about 3 car lengths under the braking zone behind the Alpine.
Sainz now just 6.4 off the lead. Russell,
Nicholas Latifi.
pretty much the fastest car out there.
Oh.
With his Mercedes at the moment.
You've got to be kidding. George is fast. Give us a full-ass safety car right now. 5.9 seconds.
Got the wheel attached. That was the Latifi Williams pit stop woes that Ted Kravitz is going to be.
George Russell, fastest first sector again. No, I'll cry if he wins, and I won't stop the stream before I do cry, and I won't mute myself either. In fact, I might turn the camera around. And with the safety car, there are chances that he might die. Come on. Come on. Fathom, why are you so far ahead of me? This is unfair. Why do I also have to be so far behind? Here comes Leclerc just now into the pits. Oh, what happened there? Why is there like speedy dry there? Whatever the hell it's called. That's... That is no bueno, and oh, that's bad. Look at all those spots he... 6.1.
He was shaking his head, wasn't he, coming out of the pit lane there, I'm sure I saw that. And
This is a man, Martin Brundle, who started the race, the season, Charles Leclerc, in brilliant fashion. Won it, then went to Saudi.
Shut up, Fathom.
Australia was first, and then went to the next
race
and was second there.
You said, oh, Verstappen in all caps. After I told you that you're ahead of me right now.
He's finding himself down in 12.
Yeah.
Understood.
He's gonna box again.
It hasn't been his fault this weekend because he had to take power unit penalties because in 2 of the last 3 races he's retired with power unit problems whilst he's been leading.
yeah, something I said yesterday, isn't it? It's, you know, it seems unfair. You've lost 25 points because you've got a power unit issue, and then you get started at the back of the field 2 races later because you've taken penalties for changing your power unit.
He's got an opportunity here.
Yeah, here comes Max. Here comes Max. Carlos Sainz is going to win his first race, Canada. Colorized 2022. Forgot the year for a second. Don't judge me. That's Lewis. Dang. Here we go. Oh, it's Monza all over again. Oh, he pinched him wide. Oh. Here we go. Maybe they don't care that it isn't for the championship.
You have to assume that Red Bull thought they could clear Hamilton there. So earlier on were...
I've waited for that. I have waited for that since Bahrain. Something a little bit dirty between these two drivers. That little pinch into the wall was... He's angry. Max is going to get by.
Certainly help him as he makes his way down the main straight. Hamilton's not fighting this one. He's not defending it. He knows the Red Bull has got a faster pace. And for the moment, Hamilton can come into the pits as well.
Lewis is in.
Can get back chasing after Carlos Sainz. So let's see Hamilton's pit stop where he will come back out in this race. And I'm looking to see where George Russell is at the moment. And Russell's making his way down the main straight as Hamilton stops at the far end and stops now. Russell goes past him, but of course he's going to take the long way round. The first
Still 25 to go. That's a lot of time.
Hamilton gets back out onto the track again. 2.8 seconds his stop. Russell has gone through. He's now into turn 3. Norris has gone through. He has been lapped, and Hamilton back out onto the racetrack in 4th place. Race control. Hang on 2 seconds. We've got Charles Leclerc on the track, and we can see him now behind Yuki Tsunoda on the medium tyre. Charles Leclerc, and he's got pace to try and get past the AlphaTauri, and that's what he needs, a faster tyre so he can get some overtaking done, and that's exactly what happened there. Leclerc's up to 10th. Kareem, we can go down to you.
So as we speculated, Crofty, after that first virtual safety car, those who pitted on lap 10 couldn't get to the end of the race on that set of tyres. Carlos Sainz is going to try and extend the stint. Ferrari have said to him that he's doing a great job on tyre management, so it's a straight fight. Verstappen's going to catch 9.8 seconds and overtake Sainz with 23 laps fresher tyres before the end of this Grand Prix.
Going to be a good one, this then.
Yeah, it's far from over. Verstappen in with a new fastest lap of the race by some.
Yeah, Max is going to get it. Russell is in.
Has been saying, can we really get these tyres to the end of the race? Are you sure? And the answer is clearly no. So he's in.
So Verstappen pits, Hamilton pits, now Russell pits, which means Carlos Sainz could be the
Good stop.
until he pits himself.
Oh, wait, that was 3 seconds. Maybe it's not the greatest of stops in the world.
Russell's got a lot of distance between Ocon and a pretty much fair amount of distance between himself and Lewis Hamilton too, of about 6 seconds as he comes back out onto the track.
So we'll see what Mercedes do. If Russell can catch Hamilton, it'll be quite interesting. But I think that secures, almost certainly secures a podium for Hamilton there.
And wouldn't that be quite the recovery? Charles Leclerc has Daniel Ricciardo as the next car he wants to try and overtake, and he's going to try and find somewhere a little more unusual to make that move stick, and he does that make that move stick into turn 8. This was the move on Yuki Tsunoda into as it stands at the moment, and another 7 seconds back to George Russell. Ted, down to you.
So Carlos Sainz does...
Ted, 2 seconds, sorry.
Safety car window is open. Okay, we will go to hot, yeah?
Yeah, please, I bet it's open. Please, safety car, say Ferrari. But if they want a pointer as to on that hard tyre to get
Oh man, Fritos are better.
Valtteri Bottas and Lance Stroll, who are both on 45 laps each. They haven't stopped, have they? No, Bottas and Stroll haven't stopped. We're on lap 46, 47, so they've made it to this point in the race.
Hamilton has the fastest lap. Bono, his tires are gone. He's done it again. His tires are gone. He's become an airplane. He's done it again.
Into 9th place. Right at the end of that train of cars is Sebastian Vettel in the Aston Martin. Lap 20 to go to the end of the race, and his teammate Lance Stroll, together with Valtteri Bottas, still banging in some decent times, running in 7th and 8th after not pitting so far in this race. And what could have been for Kevin Magnussen, who had wing damage in the early stages, down in 14th at the moment.
Okay, so we are happy for you to push to the end. As I say, just watch your slip for the surface steps, but the wear will not be a limitation.
Because they've obviously had a chance to have a look at the tyres that have just come off to get a really good reading on position, he'll have to be overtaken.
Charles Leclerc against Lance Stroll.
There's a dark screen, no sound. What? I don't know.
Stroll is going to make him go down
Oh!
the inside, and actually
Oh, Stroll was pinning. Darn, I thought he had just missed the corner. He needs someone in the barrier. Now. Safety car.
Charles Leclerc there, he's not going to get held up by him. Stroll manages. Where's that going to throw him back out into this race? Yuki Tsunoda has stopped as well. Stroll will come out.
Tsunoda stopped.
14th with still a chance, I think, to get some points out of this race.
Hamilton is the fastest car on track right now.
As you can see,
And it's not...
handy one. It's not been a great weekend, has it, for AlphaTauri, and certainly Pierre Gasly's had a race to forget.
Certainly has. We've got some yellow flags out on the track while we look at this replay of Daniel Ricciardo on Yuki Tsunoda. And that's why we've got yellow flags. And it is
Wait, he crashed it?
in the AlphaTauri.
Dude, you're coming out of the pits, man. Come on.
Now that's surely going to be a virtual safety car or a
He's
safety
out.
car.
Safety car. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm looking at your message, Fathom, but, like, yeah.
He hasn't. He's going to stay out, I think, on this one.
Oh my god.
Yellow flags down at turn 1.
Sainz is coming towards the pits now, so if they want to pit him, it's a good timing for him as he heads...
Sainz pit. He stayed out.
Absolutely worked in Carlos Sainz's favour, because I think he's coming into the pits.
Oh, he
He's
is.
coming into the pits. When we see the replay, Tsunoda came
Oh, Yuki.
Sainz, who was told his safety car window is open.
Yuki. That's not... Here we go. Just like in Miami. Wait, Sainz has fresh tires.
Verstappen might have just taken the lead here, but Sainz should have less of a gap between
No way.
when we go
This is happening.
and when we go racing once again, but he will have less of a gap.
That probably should have been mediums. I don't know about the wear, but if Sainz could have pulled out a gap nice and early on the mediums, that would have helped.
It's worked out beautifully for him. He'll cruise up behind Max Verstappen.
Oh my fucking
God.
god.
His gearbox on the restart.
This is happening.
Well, this could be quite the race to the end here. Lap
This is
42,
happening right now.
Max Verstappen
Here we
stopped
go.
for a change of tyres. Lap 48.
Yeah, especially with the safety car. Well, they have to clear out Yuki.
For a set of tyres. Lewis Hamilton on lap 44 and lap 45.
Haas points, I think.
So those behind Verstappen.
Who cares about Haas points right now? We could get Vettel points.
Valtteri Bottas is going to come into the pits. Esteban Ocon now makes his way into the pits for his second stop. And there are a few that could take quite an advantage here.
Remember when Fernando was up at the front? I forgot he existed.
Much fresher tyres to go to the end of this race. It's going to get quite racy for the last, 15 laps or so by the time they clear that car?
Absolutely. So Alonso, Bottas, and Ocon then. Well, Ocon, Alonso, Bottas, I should say, 5, 6, and 7, all pitted. So
We're about to get some fantastic battles here. First off, the Mercedes teammates, then the lead. Oh my god. This is about to be incredible.
Back straight, the safety car will pick him up. Ricciardo stopping once again. Joe Guan Yu stopping once
No
more.
way.
So the safety cars worked out well for Carlos Sainz, who was kind of waiting for it and got it just when he needed it. There is the safety car. It has picked up Max Verstappen. Safety cars.
Are they getting Yuki's car there?
Who's just made his stop once more.
At this point, red flag it for a standing start. Honestly, a standing start might be worse than a safety car restart at this point with the current tire situation. Because Sainz would just clear by turn 1 with the fresh tire. Well, no, they'd be on equal tires and then Max would just pull away.
Points but on a fresh set of tyres too. And this is what happened with Yuki Tsunoda. Just didn't turn for him.
No, I think he got in too hot though, and he locked the right front.
Look at the water on the
He was
wall.
steaming down there. Had a great pit stop, hadn't he? And it looked like a good opportunity. for
Threw
him
it
to
all
make up a
away.
place or two. Issue, but it looked like he was moving on when he got there.
In the safety car. Max Verstappen behind him.
Come on, Carlos. Come on. Maybe George. Maybe. George, he had pace, so we know maybe he could stick with the leaders. Maybe Lewis. I actually could see a crash coming between Sainz and Verstappen. It's unlikely, but I could see it coming just because of Max being Max. George has a chance. They're going to let the lap cars go here, thank God. They're going to let them go correctly as well, thank God. Or at least they should.
Hang on, Ted. Lots of replays.
Safety car deployed, Max. Safety car deployed. Dash positive. Dash positive. Science is in.
Advise on brakes and tyres.
So you can see a split down the brakes, the opposite side.
It's 4-2 Yankees right now. Going for what? Win number 9, 10?
Working those fronts, and we want high pressure events. How many cars will get in front of us if we stop?
It will be 3 cars. 3 cars.
7 cars. Yep, copy, mate. We'll have a quick look. So just keep on your delta. So if we stop, Sebastian, what would you do? Flap, please. Flap adjust. Go up. Okay, yeah, rest of the track now.
No, so
Give me some information, guys.
so the clock's already stopped, so it should be a threat to him. He's currently at P7.
Someone came up with a novel idea of keeping you quiet there by putting a whole load of team radio in.
No, this is a new idea from F1 TV, a team radio dump. I love it. Yeah, great stuff. Right, yes.
I like the radio messages all at once.
And now is in P9, so he's got the track position ahead of Zhou Guanyu, but will still be struggling.
I don't care about Carlos right now. I care about George, and he might stand a chance. Carlos or George? In the order of the top 5, I would like to see win. First and foremost, George, Carlos, Lewis, Ocon, Verstappen. Maybe switch Verstappen and Ocon. Just because I know Ocon won't be doing anything, but...
So yeah, we were matching the leaders. In fact, corrected. Yeah, you were one of the fastest guys out there.
Think that's pushing too hard on the new tyre?
We think with this safety car, that's just got a bias margin, so we should be good to the end. It's much shorter stint than that first hard tyre. Plus we've got this safety car to reset everything.
Clear in sector 1, they've got the...
Alright, we should be returning to green flag racing.
We've had a safety car deployed on anything other than the first lap or the last lap here in Canada since 2011 when Jenson Button was celebrating and Karun Chandler and I and Martin Brundle and David Coulthard were shivering in a commentary box by the final chicane. Karun, down to you.
Oh, the memories, Crofty, of that call.
Yeah, they have to. They have to stay yellow for another lap.
Listening to the radios of Verstappen,
Or else the Abu Dhabi controversy will come back and we'll get new race directors for next week and everything will go to hell again.
last time this season, well, I don't think we've had it at all this season, where the other teams think that Mercedes are in with enough pace to attack for the win. So certainly Red Bull seem to think so. Lewis, of course, with the fastest lap. We heard the exchange there from Pete Bonington giving Lewis a bit of a boost. But it does seem that as the track has rubbered up and the grip is coming in, Mercedes aren't as far off the pace as they were on Friday.
No, I think this is going to boil down to a pretty tasty end.
Why am I
Yeah, and you got Ocon and Alonso as well. This played into Ocon's
Okay, I
He's
just...
now on fresh tyres, same as his teammate, but ahead.
My jaw is weak.
Alonso, who started on the front of the grid. So what will the teams do now? It'll be Hamilton and Russell fighting each other.
Okay, I think I'm gonna wake up. Just got that notification on Twitter.
No, we think you've got the pace.
I don't think the hard tyre has been a tyre, Martin, that has seen a drop in pace during this race, and it does go a bit longer.
I think psychologically, when it's painted white, you think
What is it
it'll
now?
be slow,
6-2 Yanks. Let's
so,
go.
you know, there's 5 compounds to go at, as you
Dude, New York is so good this year, and I am so happy. They might have a world. I'm going to stop right there, because I'm a Jinx legend, and they suck in the postseason every year, no matter how good they are. But they are having a near record-breaking. They are having a record-breaking season. I'm scrolling up in the chat, not going to read it.
Safety car ending then, coming in.
I'm scrolling way up, all the way to the top.
That have been able to unlap themselves might join up to the end of the pack and will certainly have a lot warmer tyres and brakes.
So I won't be reading chat until at least lap 60, I'd say. Maybe earlier if I feel nothing's happening, but I want to read it for a while.
Go up alongside your rival. Now let's start. You can be offset from them, but you've got to be behind them.
So, unlike in Abu Dhabi, Max Verstappen will be quite happy about this time around because he's the guy out in front. And he
Entering the hairpin we go.
Look, there goes the safety car. What Max is doing is slowing down now. Burn my land and get out of the way.
Right, Carlos wants to be right on his gearbox if he wants a chance here over the next few laps. So he cannot afford to let Max get a few car lengths by catching them out.
6 times in the past we've had maiden Grand Prix winners here in Montreal. Carlos Sainz wants to be a magnificent 7th for this afternoon. Max Verstappen has won 25 times in
And here we go, almost. Sainz not warming up the tires. That reminds me of Kimi Räikkönen at Abu Dhabi a couple of years ago. In the Ferrari doing the same thing, everybody else weaving. He's just going straight. Here we go.
As is Leclerc and Bottas as well, and we are now going green. When does Verstappen want to release the rest of the
There we go.
final chicane? And Carlos Sainz has gone right with him as well. Verstappen leads him then down towards the first turn. Fernando Alonso right on the heels of his teammate Esteban.
It's close.
Verstappen leads Sainz, leads Hamilton, then leads Russell, Ocon and Alonso through those first couple of corners. Charles Leclerc right behind Fernando Alonso, then comes Bottas, Vettel, and
Come on, George.
that's the top 10. The rest of the pack all caught up to the top 10. So Magnussen, Stroll, Gasly, they're
This could very easily, though, become a DRS train, and I'm worried about that.
He's just starting to pull away a little bit. Needs to get
Unless the lead car gets passed, and then has a terrible chicane and gets passed again.
Sainz really needs a few good corners here. The DRS will not be enabled, of course, for 2 laps after a
It's already 9/10. That's not looking good.
Sainz must stay within a second a lap over these next 2 laps.
lap 55 of 70, and we hurtle down towards the hairpin. Verstappen's already out of it, as is Sainz and Hamilton and Russell.
I don't know.
That wasn't a very good exit by Sebastian Vettel, and he's got Zhou Guanyu right on his tail. And Zhou Guanyu, the rookie this season, up against a 4-time world champion, going down that back straight. Verstappen into the main straight he goes. Zhou Guanyu wants to go around the outside. He's not going to do that. Vettel's got too much top speed, and that Alfa Romeo has spent most of the race behind an Aston Martin. It was Lance Stroll. It's now Sebastian Vettel.
And Verstappen then's got the opening pace, and he's 0.8 ahead already. And Lewis Hamilton comfortably staying in touch there. George Russell struggling a little bit in the first half of this lap and lost himself.
I don't know.
2 seconds, but we've still got the top 4 covered by less than 3 seconds.
Yeah, Russell wants to get a bit clear there of Esteban Ocon. Charles Leclerc is right on Fernando Alonso's tail, and the top 10 separated by only 6.8 seconds in these early skirmishes after the safety car.
Ooh, Sainz bringing the gap down a little bit. Going back up. Coming down. Keep it at that until DRS, just so you could get it. Oh no, it's just dipped over a second.
Trouble for him. Alonso's also on the speedier medium tyre. So what can Leclerc do as we ride on board now with the Ferrari down that back straight? He looks like he's got decent pace on these medium tyres compared to that Alpine. If he had DRS, I dare say he'd be past Alonso already, but he hasn't got it. Martin, he's got to stick behind him for a little bit longer.
I agree with you. Next time around, if he can release off the head
8/10
with these tyres, and Sainz then puts in the fastest lap of the Grand Prix to stay within a second, but only just over. We've got a good race at the front there. Former teammates, of course, Verstappen and Sainz.
Oh my God, they were former teammates.
So actually, it was called.
As Joe Guan Yu gets past Sebastian Vettel, moves up.
I miss Toro Rosso.
Albon gets past Pierre Gasly, and Lance Stroll gets past Kevin.
More of a tongue twister, but I don't know. Better sounding name, more Red Bully, and also just cooler liveries as well. I like that blue, that like sort of, you know, that bluish color.
DRS down and Seb quite early on the brakes there actually, and relatively straightforward around the outside.
So,
all right, here it comes. Sainz, fastest second sector.
Wide open. Sebastian
Just wait on him. Wait on him. Wait on him.
Ferrari gaining towards him, and there's almost half a car length between them as they go through the chicane. Out of it we come now. Is there enough straight here for Carlos Sainz to make a move on Max Verstappen? Probably not.
Fastest lap for Sainz.
But where can Verstappen find a way to defend down that long back straight, I wonder? Sainz is in a great position here.
He is. Well, Sainz will be preparing his battery for maximum attack down the back straight, and Verstappen for maximum defence. It did appear to me that if Sainz can get close enough out of the turn 10 hairpin, he might just have enough top speed to get through.
George Russell has broken away somewhat from Esteban Ocon, who's got his teammate Fernando Alonso.
Fernando still has DRS. Good job. If for whatever reason Fernando comes past, let's just make sure Leclerc doesn't. Okay, let's make sure Leclerc stays behind us.
And that's the trouble Alpine.
Yeah, go be it front two, guys. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
It's the trouble Alpine have got. They might like to release Fernando Alonso, but they can't if that means that Leclerc can cut through too, because he's hanging right on in there. Right, here we go again. Verstappen against Sainz.
No.
DRS could come into the equation. It's been powerful at times here, and the DRS goes now for Carlos Sainz. And it looks like he's impossibly far back from Verstappen.
Yeah, wait on it till the front, till the pit straight. Then maybe.
He gets another helping now down the pit straight, but yeah, so he's been filling the battery up, I'd imagine, on that lap, getting ready for attack.
Not enough.
Next lap is Sainz. So can Sainz take his first Grand Prix victory? Will Verstappen hang on?
What is his 150th?
Tell you what, Lewis is gained.
49th start for Carlos Sainz, yet to win, of course. It will be his second longest wait on the Formula One stats behind Sergio Perez. That is Fernando Alonso getting passed by Charles Leclerc, and that's gone down very
Look at
well.
those Ferrari fans. Look at all the Aston Martin fans. I get that Lance Stroll is here, but you guys have Alex. Less of a poverty pay driver. Well, he's not in poverty. He's the complete opposite. He's a skill-wise poverty, pay-wise literal pay driver. Sainz is close. Sainz is close. Sainz is close. But not close enough.
Gaining on Verstappen, gaining on Verstappen, under braking. Is he going to be too far back?
I thought that look was going to turn into a stupid dive bomb.
Think it through. He's got to prepare it, but Max is more than mature enough, more than calm enough.
Oh, Charles missed the chicane.
Joins the track the right way, won't get a penalty, but he's lost a place to Esteban Ocon by going straight on at the chicane. So just out braking himself somewhat there. As Ted, we go down to you.
Potentially an engine problem for Fernando Alonso. Ferrari have been telling Leclerc that they think Alonso is slow ahead with an engine problem. So they must be looking at GPS traces or listening into his radio. We'll see whether Alonso goes slower.
Might have been an engine problem. Leclerc ahead of Fernando Alonso.
Back axle locked under downshift. So he was trying to make he hasn't lost a position in that. And he didn't gain. He didn't make it.
Max with the fastest first sector, but Sainz is only 5/10. Here we go. Maybe.
stays in fourth. Then comes Esteban Ocon, Charles Leclerc, alongside Bottas, Joe and Ricardo.
I don't know about that.
He's got past Vettel. Charles Leclerc at the hairpin. We can see his teammate further on down that straight. He's closer, Carlos Sainz, but that Red Bull's just got enough top speed to keep Carlos Sainz at bay.
Not a curb there for Sainz. Got away with it. Got away with it.
But he is closer, isn't he, down this straight to Max Verstappen than we've seen before.
Yeah.
Not close enough with 10 laps to
Only 10 to go.
make the move. Verstappen is having a rather
That Red Bull has not had good tire wear though, so it's not over yet, obviously.
good for him.
Again, the Red Bull complaining a bit under traction there in turn.
The Red Bull fades, but still has enough straight line speed. Watch out for Mercedes, too.
Into the hairpin. Neat little move there by Leclerc, who's having a much better end to this race than he
Leclerc
had
loves that hairpin move, doesn't he?
place.
So in the slipstream and with his rear wing open, Sainz is
Uh-oh. Charles could catch George.
faster than Verstappen.
Driver of the day. I gotta do that.
He's got to get
Hang on.
tighter.
But it's just not quite going his
I have
way.
voted for driver of the day,
Lap 61, we are on,
and I have voted Carlos Sainz.
another lap 62 begins, and it's still just a few car lengths for
What's been going on in
Sainz
chat?
to try and make up on Max Verstappen as they head through the first few corners.
Hamilton's got the legs on Russell for third place. Been another fine Grand Prix, hasn't it, for Mercedes-Benz?
Yeah.
Considering where they looked like
I
they
voted
were going to
Sainz.
be at one point. But Max is wily out front. He's not starting to defend fresh air or wasting time. He's just patiently looking in his mirrors and realising the Ferrari is not quite close enough so far.
Lewis Hamilton, his car is just
Max is getting faster,
so far this season.
pulling away.
To Montreal, and George Russell has a dominant performance over Lewis Hamilton. That's where you start to get worried, I think, if you're Hamilton. Today, he showed at a track that he absolutely loves that he's still very much
No DRS.
the desire and the ability. He just
That's it. That's the race.
a bit more often. No DRS this time around for Carlos Sainz. Verstappen's put in a very nice
Oh wait,
lap here.
he was in during the detection point.
Sainz during the first sector, and that's helped him out of that DRS threat. As Sainz's best chance come and gone, I wonder. He's got a bit of DRS on that straight, but he needs it down the back straight.
Yeah, he's got to just tidy up because he's in the turbulent air.
It's lap 63. This is George's lap. This is where something happens in George's favor that puts him on the podium.
3 and 4. That was nice.
Just looking to see where the battles are at the moment whilst we concentrate
This
on the
race
top two.
is...
Stroll is right on Daniel Ricciardo's
No,
tail.
I think the Red Bull has too good wear now.
On the medium, Ricciardo on the hard, and he's a threat for Ricciardo for that final points position as it stands currently. Back on board we go with Carlos Sainz. Rode the curve beautifully on the exit of the chicane there. Could maybe do, Martin, with controlled late braking and keep the momentum going into the hairpin.
He's braking very late, and yeah, he's got it rotated. So of course you always get a concertina effect. The driver in front of you is always going to be on the throttle a car length or two ahead of you.
Obviously, you said 21 kilometres an hour, extra speed advantage down this straight, heads bouncing away. Just ignore that and hope that he can get another 3 or 4 car lengths to get alongside Verstappen into that final chicane. Didn't happen for him on that occasion. I said Stroll was right on Ricciardo.
Fastest lap, Carlos Sainz.
Coming out of the hairpin with Ricciardo currently in the last points place. Sebastian Vettel, Stroll's teammate.
Now, hang on. What would Sainz do for a win on the final lap?
Up into the points. Can he get 9th and for a third time in his home Grand Prix? Can he go from 17th on the grid to 9th? Well, we'll see by the time we get to the check.
Vettel with the safety car infringement. I'm not happy anymore.
Carlos Sainz right behind him. They know each other so well, former teammates, of course. And while anyone will be experiencing pressure and a little bit of stress at this moment, I dare say Max Verstappen is smiling at the battle that he's currently in.
And from 6th through to 9th, both Alfa Romeos are now starting to put both of the Alpines on those medium compound tyres under pressure.
That McLaren just go in the grass. That McLaren just went in the grass.
Told us a few moments ago that's rather curtailed his progress in this race.
You gotta be kidding me.
Seventh, Charles Leclerc.
Still not close enough.
Just under 3 seconds behind
Oh
George
my
Russell,
God.
not making enough of an impression lap after lap to try and get past George Russell. It's the sort of problem that his teammate Carlos Sainz is experiencing in this battle with Max Verstappen.
Verstappen's got the measure of where the Ferrari's quick now, hasn't he? And what he needs to do to defend. Hamilton's very much keeping them in view. He's dropped Russell by 4.5 seconds, and Leclerc pretty much out on his own now in P5. The safety car finally worked a treat for him, didn't it? And it's I'd like to see that Ocon, Alonso, Bottas and Zhou Guanyu fight as well, because there's almost nothing between them.
Absolutely. Twice in history has the Canadian Grand Prix been settled by a last lap pass. In 1991, Nelson Piquet got past Stefano Modena to win here in Montreal, and Jenson Button in 2011, a last lap pass there as well.
It was 2011 that Jensen won in the rain.
Breakdown, of course, on the last lap as he was waving to the crowd to celebrate his
That race
victory.
was awesome. I just forgot what year it was.
Ran out of time to try and get back in the lead, and at the moment running out of time, Carlos Sainz on lap 65.
5 to go.
Past Max Verstappen once again. 5 laps to go now. Half a second between himself and the race leader.
I think Sainz just took a rip off of his visor down the pit straight there, and he's got the bit between his teeth, but you have to say Verstappen looks calm, as calm could be out front, isn't he?
When he does that, maybe we're getting more agitated in the commentary boxes. This is the sort of finish we want to see to a Grand Prix a little more often. So far this season, I think half a second. When Verstappen beat Leclerc in Saudi Arabia was the closest finish. We might be on for something similar as we go on board now with the Alpine.
Okay, so at the moment I think we stay where we are, just for a straight line issue.
Yeah, but even with a straight line issue, I'm 100 times faster this weekend.
Okay, understood.
Understood, but still stay there.
How many times? Was that 100 times? Yeah.
He wants to get past Esteban Ocon. I think they're saying, well, if you're going to do it, you're going to have to do the overtake. We'd rather you stay exactly where you are, because if we swap them around, chances are Ocon is going to lose out to Bottas, and that's the trouble they got, Ted. Team orders aren't going to work out in Alpine's favour there.
Team orders, Fernando Alonso, never going to happen. But I'm loving this fight between Sainz and Verstappen. I'm on the edge of my seat down in the pit lane, and I'm standing up. So, yeah, no, I'm absolutely loving it. Just looking down to the...
4 to go. Nothing.
They're thinking about anything they can do, just any advice, press the overtake button. It's just in that last sector where Carlos Sainz is quicker. But Verstappen has got him covered in the middle sector, it seems. So Verstappen has got the margin when they come down to the Wall of Champions. Wall of Champions, that might be something, mightn't it, Crofty? Verstappen is a world champion. I know you were just about to say it.
Oh.
Isn't, but yeah, they're just willing
Trying to...
There's nothing more they can do. I'm loving this.
Trying to get optimism from a Wall of Champions impact.
The champion. Now he is a champion. It's a threat.
It's a champion's magnet. We'll put him in. Might put him in to that Wall of
What would Carlos do?
Champions magnet. They'll be selling those in a gift shop somewhere in Crescent Street next year. Here we go again then. We're on lap 67, only a few more laps to go. Carlos Sainz has got DRS. Max Verstappen has had him covered. Carlos Sainz has got top speed. Max Verstappen has it covered.
Yeah, he's got enough traction off the hairpin as Verstappen to keep it where he needs it, and you're not going to outbrake Max into turn 1, because it's basically an approach zone for turn 2 really, rather than the braking zone anyway. So he's fast enough in all the right places, is Verstappen at the moment. And there's a great view, isn't it, from Sainz's crash helmet. I don't know how he sees where he's going.
Carlos Sainz has had this sort of view before, though, hasn't he, Martin? I remember it back to Monza when he was behind Pierre Gasly right at the end.
Oh my God, that's right. He's chasing again. Well, Canada is the last lap pass place.
It might be 5 here today. Red Bull on course pass for a 6th win in a row, a 6th consecutive victory for Red Bull. They've only ever done that once before when Sebastian Vettel won 9 in a row back in 2013. But we've not finished this race yet.
Oh, I just saw that. Alonsophobia.
Just thinking there for a moment.
Yes. So does Lewis Hamilton. He has that as well.
Max Verstappen, is he hoping that they'll pay dividends coming into the final stages of this race? And he is getting closer down that main straight, but he's not quite close enough. But when we get to 100 meters, when he puts on the brakes, Verstappen is just tantalizingly still a few meters ahead. At this straight here, it is just not enough for Sainz to get past.
Yeah, Carlos took a bit too much curve on the way into 13 there, which he had to wait for the car to stop jumping around. Cost him a little bit of time. But Max slightly wider on the turn 10 hairpin there.
Not give up hope quite yet. 2 laps to go.
Still not enough.
Elsewhere, out on the track, Bottas and Joe still chasing after Fernando Alonso.
Now the Yankees are just rubbing it in. Back-to-back homers. A second deck homer.
With his teammate there and use the DRS that he's got to keep that 7th place for him. Charles Leclerc, recovery drive for him. Ferrari were targeting the top 4. He's going to have to settle for 5th here. The way it stands at the moment, Mercedes on for a 4th and 3rd, which would be a brilliant return.
Oh, Sainz. No, that's not a good exit at all.
That will put a great smile on his face, especially after all the pain he took 7 days ago in Baku.
It's a horrible exit.
During the course of that race.
Oh, that hurts.
Is bouncing down the main straight once again. Sainz half a second behind Max.
He's going to have one chance. Final lap.
After the win, and as we enter now the final lap of this race, Red Bull have lost a race here before on the final lap. Sainz is still within touching distance.
K-Mag is last by 4 seconds. Probably should have voted Latifi for not being dead last.
So much good. This last phase of the Grand Prix, they've been so fast, pushing each other along. But as Sainz's rear tyres beginning to complain.
It's absolutely enthralling, this. It is brilliant to watch. Verstappen
Nope.
and Sainz accelerating each other, clear of the pack since the safety car, and Verstappen putting up and coping with.
And Max Verstappen's going to win again. This championship battle is over. We're going to watch him dominate. Of course, Silverstone hasn't happened yet, but that's the next race too. That's the one. Can't wait for Cops. No. Carlos had a terrible exit.
But he looks like, and he is an awful lot further behind on this lap than he has been on other laps. So maybe Max Verstappen can just start to relax and to rest a little bit, as for the first time he starts a race in
The agony.
and for the first time he sees the checkered flag and will know what it's like to win the Canadian Grand Prix. Max Verstappen comes home in first place. Carlos Sainz pushed him all the way and takes a 5th second place in his career, and it's Lewis Hamilton back on the podium once more.
Well, this could be a good little fight.
Elsewhere, Russell 4th, Leclerc 5th, and here's the battle going on between Alonso and
Alonso
Bottas for 7th place.
holds on over Bottas.
To finish 6th, Alonso 7th after starting on the front row. Bottas, great recovery drive and points for a 2nd time in his career for Joe Granu ahead of Lance Stroll completing the top 10.
Great race, enjoyed that. Fine driving at the end there. One of the biggest stories I think today is how fast the Mercedes has been. They really, we saw it in Barcelona, didn't we? To an
He
extent.
needed a good exit and he didn't get it.
Friday here, but they were on leading pace pretty much all of that Grand Prix.
Yeah, take a breather now after the end of that race.
That is the checkered flag, Max. Oh, what an end. Well done, mate.
The safety car might have actually screwed Sainz.
Withstood all the pressure. Brilliant, brilliant drive.
Did he have radio problems? I wonder. Towards the end of that match? Racing.
I think he kind of, his mirrors were telling him all he needed to know.
Well, what a great performance from Max Verstappen, and a fabulous victory for him.
Alright then. I guess that's it. Silverstone's in 2 weeks. There's NASCAR in Nashville next week. That'll be fun.
And a word of thanks
I mean, it was fun last year, but that race is going to be long. And when I say long, I mean long. Because, I mean, last year was a lengthy race, and there was a lot of incidents in a car that's impossible to crash, essentially. And this year, the car's the complete opposite. I hope Lewis and Max are front row in Silverstone. I really hope. Where are the sprint races this year? It's not Silverstone. I know one's in Brazil. I know one's in Sao Paulo. Where's the other? Is it Monza again? I didn't think it was Monza. Imola? No, it wouldn't be Monza. There was already one in Italy this year. Italy. It wasn't Singapore. It wasn't Hungary. Was it? It wasn't Spa. Although that would be fun to see as well. Yeah, let's get a sprint race in Spa. Wasn't Texas or Coda? I don't think it's Mexico. It's not Abu Dhabi. Where's the other sprint? Russia doesn't exist anymore. It's not Zandvoort. There's no way in hell it's France. Hang on, let me check this. I mean, the race is over. We don't need that anymore. Where's the F1 app? Here. All right. Let me see. Austria. It has to be. Yeah, it's Austria. Austria's next. Oh, wait, no, it's after Silverstone, so. Yeah, the sprint is 10:30 local time. And the race is at 9. Qualifying's at 11. And then the final sprint was in Brazil. Yeah. All right. What time is Suzuka here? Damn it, it's 1 a.m. Okay, I'm doing the Australia strat, it looks like, for Suzuka as well. Alright, well, that's everything. So, yeah. Yeah.